So, hello and good evening, and welcome along to episode 26 of season 1. It's myself, Brian, standing in tonight as presenter for Lauren, and we're joined by our dynamic Scottish duo of Paul Stewart and Graham Wilson. Hope you're both doing well tonight, boys.
I think we're both doing fantastic right now, to be fair.
So those soccer results are going well for both of you tonight. So we're gonna have a look ahead at the upcoming game on Sunday against the Vikings. So we'll start it off first with the news that's come up since Tuesday evening and a bit of an injury update. So I suppose the biggest news we've had so far, and the guys just broke to me there before we came on air, was obviously there was a tweet from Jane Slater went out, and Amari is looking fit and ready to go. So how do we feel about that?
I'm looking very optimistic now. If Amari feels he's okay, then great. But we'll see how he gets on with practice tomorrow. So, but it's just one of them ones. It's just a little bit precaution, really.
Yeah. How about yourself, Graham?
Yeah, he seems to be the consistent one you can rely on. Other than the Jets game, he seems to come up, be that number one receiver that we need him to be. So even if he has got a slight injury, it looks as if he's gonna be ready to roll on Sunday anyway. Yeah. It's going to be a test on Sunday, I think, and we need everybody pulling their weight.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. And the other injury news that I've seen is that Jeff Heath seems like he'll be ready to rock and roll. He's had stitches in his knee, and it looks like Van Der Esch is going to be a game time decision. So, with the return of Mr. Lee being back into the fold with 12 tackles, that's going to offset things if Leighton can't go.
It's just going to be an absolute boost to have Sean Lee back and getting more reps as well. Like, just brings more versatility to the linebacker group.
Yeah,
like, but fingers crossed that Van Der Esch can make the game and be fit for the game as well. Get some reps in as well. But because if you start changing your like, it's no without a doubt, Jalen, Sean Lee, and Van Der Esch, they're probably the best linebacker group, of course, across the NFL. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And if you can just get all three of them guys like rotating in and that, it's just going to cause absolute nightmares for reading the plays, all the blitzes and stuff like that. So, fingers crossed that Van Der Esch is fit. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll throw the other bit of good news that came out this week in your way, Graham. So obviously Xavier Woods had a bit of a game on Monday night with the sacks, forced fumble, interception, and won himself the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. So that certainly offset the loss of Mr. Heath.
Yeah, I mean it's no secret that the DBs have come under a bit of pressure for takeaways and interceptions and so on, no matter whether it be forced fumbles or picks and whatever. And I think to get all our guys on the field when we get a little bit of momentum is always good. Yeah. Especially with his effort from last week to be able to build on it, particularly against the Vikings. I think that's all good news. That's really, really positive.
Yeah. So I haven't had a chance to look at the Vikings injury news, but I saw they picked up Andrew Sandeo again after being cut by after he was cut by the Eagles. So Sandeo is getting another game at AT&T for the second time in 3 weeks.
Hopefully he's had plenty of nightmares.
Absolutely. And the other news that kind of came out, I think it was yesterday evening, and Lauren kind of brought this up, and we might touch on it. Des Bryant is looking for a team, and has said he's willing to, get involved. I'm taking it from Graham's reaction. He's not happy about it, but would either of you consider bringing him in for the rest of the season if you wanted?
I'll let you go first, Graham.
It's amazing how much your morals diminish when you're looking for a team. He gave all sorts of pressure to the coaching staff and ex-teammates and all that kind of stuff. But as soon as you find yourself on the couch watching games, maybe I said some things and they said some things and yada yada yada. So even if he is looking for a return to the Cowboys, nah, not for me. I'm quite happy to roll with 2 up-and-coming receivers and a bit of experience in Cobb. I don't see Bryant being a positive in the locker room, and I don't see him being the 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown receiver that he once was. I think if he was going to be that guy, he'd be back on the Saints, not us. So I think there's a reason he's sitting on the couch, and it's going to be somebody further down the line. Maybe a contender comes up with a big injury, a number one goes down and they bring him in for depth. But nah, not when we are in the position that we are. It's going to be somebody like, dare I say it, a Patriots or a 49ers or something along those lines after Des Bryant. We're good at receiver core and we don't need any interruptions.
Yeah, just the kind of thought. Look, like, I wouldn't be upset if we did sign Bryant. Like, I wouldn't be upset, but there's still some quality he can still provide. But obviously, what Graham already touched on is like after, he was more about the coaches and how he kind of like got himself after he was cut from the Cowboys, kind of ranted a little bit. Yeah, that does kind of play into a bit of factor. But I do kind of feel like if there was a team who was to kind of maybe sign him, it wouldn't surprise me if it would be like, say, the Patriots once again, because they seem to kind of like sign anybody that on a really cheap basis.
Yeah.
You know, like they did it with Josh Gordon, did it with maybe not Antonio Brown, but that's a whole different can of worms, that one.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, if it did sign, it wouldn't bother me. So, but there could be there is some things that Brian can still show the younger receivers what to do and type of thing in terms of like some maybe use of hands and and that seems to be that kind of happened early on during the season. I know I'm maybe kind of rambling a little bit, but there was a few things where we were getting like offensive interference type like illegal blocking the back from offensive wide receivers and stuff like that. You're like, maybe something that could be addressed with, and Brian was really good at actually blocking as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like especially not to go back through history and stuff like that, but whenever Bryant had a block and stuff like that, it opened up the slants for Lisa Beasley and helped Terrence Williams to get freed up. So, but that's back then now, all different team now. So again, it's just a whatever, you know.
What I will say on it is, though, he seems to be the type of receiver that we don't have. The big body. If Dak's on the 10-yard line and he throws up a fade to the back of the end zone, Bryant's coming down with that ball 9 times out of 10. So
absolutely,
that's what we maybe miss. That's where I could see him fitting in. But do you want to stifle? I don't know. If he wants to come in and be the ultimate professional, absolutely sign him up. But I don't know if that's what you're getting.
See, funny that you mention it. I do kind of feel that's where Cobb plays into that. Because Cobb's like, he did that through old Green Bay with the fades and even lift like some slant routes as well. But he's one of them type of receivers that, like, he's not going to be the deep ball like Devante Adams or anything like that. And I think that's what we kind of missed, is like the short crossing routes. And you've seen that whenever like Cobb is open. Like, obviously he had a couple of mistakes during the game there against the Giants there, a couple of drop balls and that, but other than that, like, I think we do have that void filled. So but like I said, it's like when it comes to Bryant, if he signs, he signs. But if he's asking for too much money, then you can go somewhere else for all I care. But
Yeah.
but like, I think the reason why I would say we should sign him is because the amount of work he's actually put into the Cowboys organization. If we do have a really good playoff run, it's like it'd be like, you know what, you kind of like for what the hard work you've did, but it's not a. God, I'm trying to find out the right term here. We just kind of give you a Super Bowl medal because you were a former Cowboy and the amount of effort you put in. You know what I mean? It deserves to the guys that are in the 53-man squad right now. So
it kind of be a sentimental pick. It'd be almost like saying, let Antonio Romo down from the booth because he deserves the Super Bowl appearance kind of thing.
Let's get Tony Romo from the news booth and put him in the backup jersey and coming in for one play, and that's him got a Super Bowl ring. Yeah. Like, to be honest, I'll be well and truly up for that.
To be honest, I don't think he could do much worse than Cooper Rush at this stage.
Well, because let's be fair, like if Romo had that O-line so early on in his career, can you imagine the damage he would have done to the NFL?
Yeah.
Considering the stats he has right now as one of the greatest Cowboys ever, it would be even higher than that if he had a decent O-line at the early start of his career.
Yeah. Like I think with some of the injured quarterbacks and some of the retired quarterbacks we've seen in recent years, like with Tony and obviously Andrew Luck at the start of the year, does show and should highlight to teams the value of having a huge and strong offensive line.
Absolutely.
And so we better start having a look at the Vikings anyway. So how, for both of you, the Vikings so far, are they doing? For me, I think they're doing a little bit better than I expected them to do. But for how is it for both of you?
I'll go first. I actually think they're in the kind of same situation as us, if you know what I mean. Like they're it's whenever they like there should have been some games they should have won that they did, but they kind of underperformed. But they still are an absolute threat. Like Dalvin Cook, like. He is the guy we need to watch out for sure, because obviously Adam Thielen is still 50-50 if he's make it to Sunday. He's already reported. He did not practice today, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to be practicing tomorrow. I just checked the injury report on the Vikings website, so I'm pretty sure that they're just pretty much kind of weighing it out to the following week. But unless he's declared fit all of a sudden, so. But even still, you still got Stephon Diggs and you still got Kyle Rudolph, your tight end, your main other receivers. So there's still plenty of threat. But in terms of defense, Trey Waynes?
Trezway.
Trezway, I can't even bloody see his name.
Yeah.
That's after the 3 pints of Guinness after that Celtic game, I'm telling you. I do apologise. But so there's obviously concerns with their secondary, so they're kind of feeling a wee bit late in that. So I think the game's there for the taking.
Yeah.
But obviously my first and foremost threat is stop the run. If we stop Dalvin Cook, then it's going to add more pressure to Kirk Cousins to pass the ball more.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, every time we played the game, I think are we currently undefeated against Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I think we're 5-0 against him. I think it is. I saw.
So, not to put that as a statistic, obviously we're a different team now, but that like I said, D-Law and the front four, they know what to expect of him. Yeah. So, but it's a different, much better offensive line they've got now.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
So they need to really, like Lisa Quinn, especially on the outside rush, they really need to fucking. Oh, sorry, just swore up.
So, we'll pass it over to yourself there, Graham. What's your impressions of the Vikings?
I'll just stop.
Well, to touch on what you were saying there, they're a very Cowboys offense. You know, they get behind the run. they trust Dalvin Cook, and the less they need out of Cousins, the better. You know, like I drafted Stephon Diggs in a couple of fantasy leagues and actually let him go because he was getting next to nothing because the run game was so good. Just looking at their stats now, they're third on the ground and 16th in the air, but they've got a 6-3 record, so it's working for them. Looking at their defensive stats, Danielle Hunter.
Yeah, very good defensive end.
8.5 sacks. I'll be honest, that's the first I've heard of him. And then
he's a great guy to pick up for fantasy.
Yeah,
when you're playing in IDP leagues.
What's 8 interceptions on the season? Anthony Harris is top with 3 picks. Yeah. So it's gonna take a big effort. But if we can get to our game before they get to theirs and build up a lead, that's how we're going to win the game, by keeping their defense on the field, Cook off the field, because he's actually their second receiver as well. So if we stay on top, hopefully we can burn the clock out and keep them off the field.
Very good. You were going to say something, Paul?
I was just going to ask up, what side does he play? Like Hunter, is it left or the right side?
I think he plays both. I think he.
Oh, does he switch it up?
Yeah, I think he's given that license to go where he wants to go.
So he's a versatile D end. That's I wasn't too sure. Like,
so if we move it on to the offensive side of the game, so I think, like, I was kind of reading that Dalvin Cook obviously is leading in terms of yards on the ground, and Zeke I think is about 6th. Then through the air, Stephon Diggs is 7th and Amari Cooper is 8th. But I think they've played one more game than us, so we should be able to make that differential up soon.
Yeah.
But, where can you see them winning the game on offense, or on the Viking side, and where can we win it on our side on offense?
It's got to be the run game.
Yeah,
it's got to be the run game for both. Yeah. If somebody can build up a lead and a rhythm, that's going to last, I think, for the whole game, and especially if they can minimise the mistakes from Cousins, because to me he's not a surefire, to go out and win you a game. I mean, just looking at his stats, 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's how little they've asked him to do.
Yeah,
he's not throwing interceptions because he's getting rid of he's throwing the ball away. He's not forcing it into windows because they know that they can rely on Dalvin Cook. So it's not going to be a big turnover game, I don't think. Unless Cook coughs up the ball, I don't see many interceptions. So it's definitely a run-heavy game, this. I'd be amazed if it turns into a shootout. I think it's going to be a tight game.
What about yourself, Paul?
I fully agree. I think that maybe the only difference maybe for both teams is the use of even the use of the tight ends.
Yeah,
that could be even a bigger difference as well. It's like we've got Jarwin and Witten, like very versatile tight ends, but they kind of just. But whereas the Vikings, they kind of rely on Rudolph a lot. But just to follow up with what Ray was saying, it's going to be a really run-heavy game. They're going to use their strengths. We've got Zeke, they've got Cook, and especially with now Adam Thielen is really unlikely to show up on Sunday, it kind of makes sense to kind of like just run more the ball game, but at the same time, we still cannot underestimate all these upper wide receivers. Because like it's like anytime, it's like next man up, regardless who you play for. Next, it's like if someone's injured, next one person comes in, then you need to study that person more. It's like so, but I can see it being a really tight game, even though we got home field advantage. But when it comes to like if we're going maybe like 4th down and we need to kick the field goal, that's when I'm going to get a little bit concerned.
What do you mean when Dan Bailey's standing on the other sideline?
Both. Both. Like,
yeah, I think.
Picture this. I can see Dan Bailey, but shouldn't have cut me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, that was kind of one of the things that came up in the mailbag was, are we now starting to fully believe in Brett Maher? I think he's only missed one kick in his last 3 games. Now, granted, I think that was a 50-plus yarder that he missed, but
well, that's the strongest point. He's actually the best long range kicker. I just like it's like 1 week it's short range, 1 week's long range. It's like just be consistent, please. That's all we ask.
I thought Big Game made a cracking point on the Giants post game. He said, "Look, missed them early and hit them late.
Yeah,
you know, if you can get your first one out the road, hit the upright.
Get the nerves out of the way. Get the nerves out.
Yeah, when we need you to hit it in the 4th, just go out and hit it. Right between the uprights, because it's the Dan Bailey Bowl. And if he goes out and has an opportunity with 20 seconds left on the clock,
9 times out of 10 he's trying to hit it.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah,
I think between the two of them, they exchanged the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week for 3 weeks running. So I'd say there's a possibility it might be a safe bet that one of those 2 players picks up the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week this week.
And maybe interested in looking up Paddy Power, who's going to win the most special teams points. It's a fair argument.
Of course it is. Listen, of course it is. It's
so
all part of our game at the moment.
Yeah.
If we look at our obviously the key position on offense is the quarterback. So are we all in agreement that we're definitely winning that battle with Dak Prescott under center?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I think over the course of the season so far, it's kind of proven that even like it's great to have Zeke back, obviously, but even when you had Tony Pollard playing, like Dak is becoming more comfortable with the weapons that he's got in the wide receiver slot. Whereas it doesn't matter. Like I'm just trying to remember what the stats is, but I'm pretty sure his Cousins is actually quite in that high bracket of being sacked. I'm pretty sure.
I think he gave up the Vikings gave up a lot of sacks
and that's him just holding on to the ball so much longer. Like the O-line can only do so much. You have your 3 to 5 second window to get the ball out of your hands across. Ideally, you should be a lot quicker, depending on what type of play you're doing. But Dak's being so much more efficient when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think Graham, I think you have that sack number there.
Yeah, Cousins has been sacked 16 times.
Jeez, so that's roughly about average 2 a game, 2.5 per game.
Yeah.
So when you break it down like that, that's actually quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like depending on who you play against.
Yeah.
I mean, on the QB battle, if I was to put one of them in for a 2-minute drill, it's Dak every time, and it's not close.
Yeah.
It's not close.
Yeah.
Dak every single time, especially with their receivers.
I would fully agree with you on that. So if we flip it over onto the other side of the ball, who is going to stand out and win the game for their team? Is it going to be our defensive line? Are we going to go with their secondary, which has been badly beaten up, and I think they gave up a 91-yard touchdown at the weekend with players out of position everywhere? Or where can we win this game on the defensive side of the ball?
If it's going to be anything in the offense, I would say, for me personally, would be the deep route with Gallup.
Yeah.
And if Cooper's fit to play, because obviously with the injuries with the secondary, but when it comes to the run game, I'd expect the Vikings to be fairly equipped. They fully expect the run game to happen and try. You're probably talking about maybe 3 yards per carry, maybe 5, but you've got is it Kendricks? Is he still playing?
Eric Kendricks or Lance Kendricks? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's without a doubt one of the best players in the team.
Yeah.
And his ability to read the run is ridiculous. And time's proven that. So that's the only concern I've really got when it comes to when we run our offense. Is the read of the offense, running the ball. But yeah, if we were going to win a game, it would be like a deep route or I don't know. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. But there was one particular. I think it was on the Cooper touchdown against the Giants. We caught them in zone coverage, and if you remember, it was I think it was a post, and Cooper cuts and he goes right in, accepts the ball in full speed, and he runs across 2 Giants, and he's off to the races. So if we can call the right plays at the right time, it's going to open up. Especially if we can get a run game going, it'll open up the play action, and that's when we can hurt them. But the 8 interceptions, Dak's going to have to be cute with the ball. Because it's going to be a tight turnover battle. Hopefully, we'll not give up the turnovers because that could hurt.
Yep, absolutely.
And then if we look at our defense, obviously we're talking about the leading rusher in Dalvin Cook coming in. You would hope that, I suppose with Michael Bennett now coming into the rotation at defensive end and filling in a tackle as well, hopefully we'll be able to stop the run there and not get chewed up as we have been in some games this season.
For Lisa, here's the thing about Michael Bennett is he wasn't playing the right scheme to suit him. Also when he was playing back in Seattle and even in Philadelphia, he was running like a 4th run, right? And that suits him a lot. That suits him a lot more. And he's now in that same type of scheme, and he's reunited. I can't even say it. Oh my God. Reunited with Chris Richard. So there's that fundamental. It's okay, he knows what to get the best out of him, and whereas he just went to the Patriots, hopefully getting a Super Bowl essentially. Because that's what people just kind of they'll take a pay cut just to join the Patriots because 9 times out of 10 they're going to likely go into the Super Bowl now. It's kind of getting to that stupid stage now, unfortunately. So, but I expect a really big game from Bennett, to be honest with you. I think he'll make a good impact. And I'm still over the moon we got him for just a 7th.
Oh, definitely,
Well, I'm still over the moon with that. So, but it all starts with the D-line, though. They just need to make sure they stop the run.
I mean, it's definitely going to be the D-line because it wasn't so long ago we saw the Packers carve us up. Right through the middle of the tackles. Exactly,
perfect example. Perfect example. Because we expect Aaron Rodgers just to ball it out to Adams and Valdez Scantling, whatever his name is. Can't even remember him. But everyone's like, run game, will be fine. No. It's just over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, and that's he's nowhere near as good as Dalvin Cook. So they're gonna have to ball out.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to. Either that or we make the Vikings pass on us.
Yeah,
we get an early lead, which isn't something we do particularly. But if we can get it from somewhere and we can keep, if we can make them chase us.
Yeah.
Not give up the run game.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny that you just mentioned that, Graham. It's like every game so far we've always trailed in the first quarter. I'm pretty sure, and then we seem to kind of be in that more of a emergency to get points on the board.
Yeah.
So like you said, if we can make the first impact, hopefully that can actually disrupt their rhythm, and we can actually dictate the pace of the game. So
yeah. I think this is one game where I'm kind of hoping we win the toss and Mr. Claphams decides we're running the ball straight away. I definitely don't want to see it deferring.
Mr. Claphams, that's brilliant.
But
we're under enough stress this week.
But just something I did want to touch on anyway is as you say, it looks like our game plan should be to try and win the war in the trenches, get Kirk Cousins throwing the ball. And for me, in the past couple of weeks, I've kind of been noticing this. Whilst the secondary has been very soft in coverage and given up quite significant yards, they have because of that pressure on the the defensive line, we're starting to win that turnover battle. I think we're back in positive numbers on the turnover front, and the secondary are getting interceptions. So, where do you think can the secondary have an impact in the game?
I think it comes from if they need to go to the passing game, that's where our success will come from. If they're having to go 3 downs and pass on 2 of them, because that'll mean they're behind. If they start passing the ball, it means they're behind. So that's where the mistakes come from. And that's hopefully where we will capitalize from now on. It's not necessarily happened so far, but
just to kind of follow up on that as well, it's like it just seems like the Vikings don't really trust Cousins that much with the ball.
Yeah, I'd be in agreement with you. For as I say, with that hot take about hopefully winning the toss, going straight at it, building a lead. You're going to be in a situation where you're forcing Kirk Cousins to try and win the game rather than him relying on Cook to win him the game.
Yeah.
And then as you say, the mistakes come in, fumbles happen, turnovers happen, interceptions happen, and that's where you would hope we can win the game from.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're now at that stage. What are the hot takes for this week? Score prediction, crazy prediction. Jeffy's going to get an interception and take it to the house. What have you got?
Well, Brian, I think it was your 3 that predicted a scoring 6 on the defense. So I'm going to leave this one up to you.
This week, as I've kind of said, I think we're definitely going to win the toss. We're going to elect to run the ball first. We're going to ram it down their throat. Zeke's going to get a touchdown on the first series. I do agree with you, Graham. I think it's going to be a tight game. I reckon it's going to be 17-13, something along those score lines. I don't think we're going to get a defensive touchdown this week, unfortunately.
Yeah. Not necessarily a hot take.
Yeah.
But I think Dak scores a rushing touchdown this week. I think hopefully
that's a real good.
If
I second to that.
I just think that it'll all be down to ball security. Nothing will be open. Zeke will be covered up. Hopefully he'll see a gap somewhere and just go for it. Rather than sticking it into a Vikings hands. If he can do more on the ground, particularly in the red zone, that would be a big improvement.
Yeah, very good. How about yourself, Paul?
Score prediction. I'm going to go for 28-24.
Okay, very good.
And I think Zeke will have a touchdown, obviously rushing, but I think it'll be one of the only games he will have under 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously we know what the defense is like for the Vikings, so I would say it'd be between 80 to just under 100 to be
Okay.
yards.
Yeah. Who scores last, Paul?
Oof, Jason Witten. You know, it just light bulb just popped up. Light bulb just popped there. It's like Jason Witten. Oh, good old Captain America. That's it.
Yeah.
He's going to break that record.
Yeah.
He's going to break the record. Yeah.
I screw Zach Hertz. Screw him.
I'd agree with you on that, Graham. I mean, if he breaks the record in a Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl, I mean, that would be the greatest moment it would be one of the greatest moments in Cowboys history, I think.
They should buy him a horse to ride off into the sunset.
Yes. Very good. And I think on that hot take, I think we're gonna wrap up this episode. So thanks to the two boys for joining in with us tonight. It was a really great show. Mike and the guys will be back on Monday evening, or hopefully with the post-game show, hopefully to celebrate another win. Make sure follow us on Instagram, Twitter, join the Facebook group, get on there. We'll all get you hyped up before the game if that's what you need. But make sure and follow us, watch us, get us out there, share us everywhere you can, and get those viewing numbers up for us, folks. Thanks very much, guys.
See you next time.
And we'll see you next
as always,
week.
mate.